Here we are at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., in the West Building, ground floor in Gallery 17. Today we are going to take a look at Ser Giovanni di Domenico's piece, The Virgin Annunciate, done between the years of 1498 and 1503 in Florence. It is a piece made of stained glass. The size of the window is 78.5 inches by 31 inches, so it's a pretty large window. Domenico was a priest and a glass craftsman in the 14 and 1500s. When I walked through the museum, this piece really caught my eye with its bright colors and rather large size. In the room in which it was located were other stained glass windows. Some were from the same time period, and they ranged in size. Each of the windows did represent some sort of religious matter. The Virgin Annunciate is placed on a wall as a window usually would be. At first glance, you see a woman looking down towards her hand. In the other hand, she is holding a book. She is clothed in a long maroon dress with a royal blue and gold robe over top and is wearing a dark head wrap as well. She has blonde hair and what seems to be pale, fair skin. She is standing next to a podium that also contains books. He uses light colors such as a beige to help illuminate the woman's face. The rest of the window is full of rich colors that are illuminated by the light that shines through. He uses some of the dark colors as shadows. Some of the areas appear duller than others because of the type of brush strokes and/or the color used. The texture of the piece is raised in some areas, such as the outlines. This piece was done to serve a religious purpose in the Santa Maria Maddalena dei Pazzi in Italy.
The stained glass window could have been found in the church and convent of Cestello, which later the name was changed to Santa Maria Maddalena dei Pazzi. The original church that this work was found in was in Florence from 1503 till 1630. After this, the artwork was removed from the church, passed along through many hands of people who bought the piece of art until it was gifted to the National Art Gallery in 1942. This story, as a conception of Jesus, it represents a central meaning for Christianity. As the incarnation of Christ, yet it also contains the ideals of chastity and maternal needs in Mary, which is revealed in Mary's virginity and humble ways is seen as the divine commandment. Since the humanist style of art introduced in the early Renaissance, it shows Gabriel's encounter with Mary as being very much a human-to-human encounter with each other.
With regards to what we've gone over in class, this work, The Virgin Annunciate, can be compared to the stained glass pieces in the Chartres Cathedral. Although both works are created from the same medium, they also present the different characteristics of their respective cultures and time periods. While the Virgin Annunciate is from the Renaissance in Italy, the stained glass pieces of the Chartres Cathedral are representative of the high point of French Gothic art. The stained glass windows in the cathedral were made between 1210 and 1250, marking a large difference in time of construction between the pieces. The subject matter is relatively the same. Both feature religious figures and stories. The presentation of both, however, is different. Both are from differing periods, places, and artistic movements. The Virgin Annunciate is more naturalistic and features more shading and depth that is characteristic of the Renaissance, while the pieces from the Chartres Cathedral are done in the slightly less naturalistic Gothic style. The differences between the two are in part to the context during which they are created, but also fundamentally as stained glass pieces, they have their differences. The pieces in the Chartres are broken up into smaller sections of glass and have smaller panels. By being constructed into these smaller pieces and panels, the windows in the cathedral come together to form larger overall pieces, such as the rose windows, while the Virgin Annunciate does not. Overall, the Virgin Annunciate, though no longer featured in its original context, is just as representative of its time period as those windows that are found in the Chartres Cathedral. The piece clearly shows the Renaissance style, being very naturalistic, and is an exemplary piece of both the time and the medium.